Hello and welcome back to the Peak Endurance Podcast. I am your host, Ron Tate, and with me is,
Isabel Tate, your
yeah,
secondary host.
that's right.
Second
And
best to Ron.
that's right. And see, I did that right. So
We managed it, although I did nearly burp.
you did. I was just about to press record and Isabel let out a burp, just clearing the airways.
That's right. I've got to get everything out of the
That's
way.
right.
Got to get ready.
Clearing the airways so that it's a nice, fresh, crisp sound.
That's right. And I do apologize for last week's podcast. I listened to it and the sound was bloody terrible.
Yes, we think
Um,
we might have had an equipment malfunction.
well, we did say it at the beginning that we were a little bit flustered about the things that were going on with the computer and the sound and everything. And I think, yeah,
We were
I think we had
recording
it on the wrong
with the wrong
microphone.
microphone. So
Yeah.
this thing was only here for show.
Yeah, it wasn't doing anything. It was actually the camera microphone that was working,
Yeah.
which is miles away and it's okay, but it's not like it's okay when I'm doing my Zooms with my athletes, but it's
Yeah.
not good enough for when we're doing a
Yeah,
podcast.
that's right.
So, I mean, admittedly, I'll listen to this again and hopefully,
Either that or we need a new microphone.
yeah. Although this is my son's old gaming one,
Mm.
so it's meant to be a good one, supposedly, from what he tells me.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, updates, Ron. What have you
Updates.
been up to?
Um, Nothing.
Yeah,
Why? What have you been up? So what, last
the
weekend
usual.
the usual. We actually got out into the hills last weekend.
We went and looked at Roller Coaster Run, and we
Yep.
saw Lucy out there storming the trails with Ash Bennett and Tom Dade with her, helping her out. And I said to Ron, I bet you she's going for a course record,
Yeah.
having them pace her. Because obviously it's hard as a female to go for a course record when there's no one close to you. Like
Yeah.
it's not like with the men close to each other, pushing each other. As a woman, if you're a winner, you're often on your own, and the next person behind you is quite far away. So, you know, it can be hard. So that's what I was thinking. And she did. She
Yeah.
got the course record by 20
Yeah.
minutes. So that's obviously what her goal was,
Yep.
and she looked great. She looked strong and fit
She
and
did. Focused.
yeah, focused, really good. She looked good.
Yeah.
Mm, yes.
Yes.
So we did that. And we also saw lots of other people and
She had a lot of people on.
saw our athletes out there and they look bloody awesome too.
That's right. And hello to everyone who
Said hello to
said
us
hello
and
to us and said that they either listen to the podcast or follow Isabel on her socials. There's a
yes,
few
yes,
people
that's
that said
true.
that as
Yeah,
well.
yes.
So
Yes.
hello to you, people.
Yes, and thank you, and I really appreciate it, and we appreciate it with the
Yeah.
podcast, and it's just good to know that people on Instagram or Facebook, but mainly people on Instagram, I think, like my posts and appreciate
Yeah.
it, and then I'm helping people with my tips and whatnot.
Yep.
As we do. And really, when you think about it, I give a lot of advice, a lot of advice on Instagram. Like I post twice a day with advice for ultra runners, and then we give the podcast for free. So Peak Endurance Coaching gives a lot of information to people for free. And yeah, so it'd be nice if you could share the podcast, sometimes share the posts that I post if you think they're particularly informative. That would be greatly appreciated. Just little things like that help out small businesses because at the end of the day, I am a small business. And if you're a small business in Victoria, you're doing it tough.
Yeah.
You are doing it tough.
Starting with your back against the wall to start with.
Yeah, because the government wants like so much money from you constantly. And the government really, it feels when you're a small business in Victoria, it feels like the government does not want you to succeed. And that's how it feels every single day, like that you're actually fighting the government to try to keep yourself in business. So any help would be greatly appreciated, and that is sharing and those sorts of things. Just helps small business.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about myself, I'm talking about any small business in Victoria because I mean, small business in Australia is not well received, but in Victoria particularly, I think the government has decided that we are going to be the ones that pay for COVID.
Yeah.
So, yes, anyway, enough. Not a nice way to start it, but, basically, I want people to understand that peak endurance coaching is small business. We are small business and doing it tough like everyone else.
Yep.
All righty. So, what else in our catch-ups?
It's not been a lot. We haven't actually. It's been a nice, quiet week, which we've been craving.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, which has been really nice,
Yeah.
I'm not even bored yet.
Yes, that's next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, not really. Oh, We did. We have been like, the rest of the ultra running world. We have been following Big's
Oh
backyard
my God.
quite avidly.
I didn't get much work done in the last 2 days. I've got, two screens, and one is, Big's backyard, and for the most of the hour, it's all right, but it's that 5 minutes,
But yeah,
well, actually 15 minutes when
yeah,
they would start to come in, and oh, so interesting.
yeah.
And, what I saw as a wrap up a little bit, we all know Phil Gore won, and I've interviewed Phil Gore before. Or were you? No, I think
Yes,
I did it on my
I
own.
was there. Yep.
Okay. And I mean, he's great. He's a lovely guy. And when we interviewed him, we realized how organized. I mean, he's got spreadsheets for everything,
Yeah,
super organized. But, I've always been, oh, maybe it would be better with, with backyard ultras to go slower so that you don't have to stop as much. And that might be all right for the first few hours, but Phil goes for the go faster because above everything else, he values sleep.
that's right.
And so for him, every time he goes faster, it's paid off, even though going faster is harder. But for him, it's not really that fast. If you've seen his park run, he's freaking
Yeah,
fast.
yeah,
So it's not like what we were talking about of lactate threshold and the percentage of VO2. The percentage of his VO2 to do a fast 6.7K, to do it in that time, I would be wearing myself out, but he's not,
yeah.
right? Because he's so fast and young, and that helps. But he values sleep more than taking it easy on the loop.
That's right.
So it's that's I find that fascinating.
And
Like,
they were saying that he had 12 hours
yeah,
less time on his feet
than everybody
than the
else.
people around him when it was getting towards the
And
tail end.
you could see it. He did not look broken.
No, if you
Oh
compare
my
him
God, he looked
to the,
amazing.
particularly the final five or six,
Ivo, God, Ivo
um,
just looked terrible.
he,
Harvey looked terrible.
yeah, they were slurring, they were, you know, stumbling. He was fine.
Yeah, Ivo had been bent like a pretzel for hours.
Yeah, and he looked
He looked,
quite mentally with it, and
I mean, he looked tired,
oh, absolutely tired, but
but he
that's
looked, his body didn't look broke. Like when he
yeah.
knew he was doing the last lap, Jesus Christ, I probably couldn't have kept up with him.
He took off like a stung rabbit.
He did that 6.7K loop in 37
Yeah,
minutes.
and I read today that his fastest loop was loop 80, and
Oh, wow.
he did that in 35 minutes.
Yes.
So
35.
yeah, so he did most of his night loops
Yeah.
were faster so that he could get
Yes. And
15
that's a
up to 15,
strategy
yeah,
he
12 to
uses.
15 minutes of sleep.
They'd said he would do 3 fast and 1 slow.
Mm.
Right. And he said that when he was on our podcast
Yeah,
that he did
he
that he
did.
would do it fast
Yeah.
at night so he could get more sleep.
Yep.
But in general, he did his loops faster than everyone else, which gave him more time off his feet. And I'd never thought of that. I thought, oh, you know, beware the chair. You don't want to sit down because you'll get stiff. But it's paid off by the fact that he's not as got much
Yeah.
pounding in his legs time-wise, like time on feet. His time
Yeah.
on feet was way less.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. I find strategy fascinating.
Yeah. Very much a strategic race. That's what it is.
Yes, yes.
And particularly this time, that strategy, I mean,
Oh.
he could have kept, it looked like he could have kept going for days.
Well, I read in the chat that when he got the world record of 119 at Dead Kai Gully, that he had been planning or he was prepared to do 180.
Yeah.
And they were saying, no doubt, he's prepared exactly the same. So for
Yeah.
him to only do 114, he would have been like, oh,
It's
bye-bye.
finished already.
Yeah. I think Gemma was pretty wrapped.
Yes, that's right.
She seemed pretty wrapped.
Yeah.
But like it's just it was just amazing. It's always I love watching a master working on his craft.
Yeah.
Right? I love seeing someone who's really excellent at their craft working on it. And that's what he is. He's a master at his craft. He's a master at it. And just, like, it's just amazing. I did not think I would get that addicted to it. I was spewing it had finished early because I wanted to keep bloody watching. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, Ivo, keep going. I don't care if you're broken.
And it's funny. Phil Gore almost looked disappointed when it
He
finished.
looked disappointed.
Yeah.
And we could see when they went off on the second last lap, Ivo's last.
Yeah.
I mean, in the comments, people are going, that's all right. Phil will carry him. Phil will carry him. I mean, and they came in together, and it was one of Phil's slowest loops because obviously, and it was probably
And
Ivo's
it was
fastest
certainly Ivo's fastest for a while
while. So
because he
Phil was
was.
giving him the hurry
I
up.
think the loop before that he'd gotten in like 20 seconds
Yeah,
before the
yeah,
bell.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I
But
think
Phil was also there, probably stopping him wandering
yes,
aimlessly off the
yes,
trail.
that's true. Yeah,
Hang on, come back here. Guiding him like a shepherd.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was just absolutely amazing to watch, as
Mm.
everyone I'm sure is can agree. It was a pity here in Australia because we mainly only saw the night
Yes,
laps,
that's
unless
right.
you were one of those crazy people who stayed up all night to watch the day ones as well. But what I did notice, that road section, and you said, "Oh, have they got the road closed off?" I saw sometimes during the night sections they'd be shuffling along, and these cars would go whoosh past them,
Okay.
and they weren't wearing high vis, because they weren't in safety Victoria with the government looking after us,
Yes,
making us wear high vis.
safety first,
Safety first.
second, third, and fourth.
Yes, and if being safe means taking away your freedoms, that's fine. Um, they were just, and these people have been running for a while, like,
Yeah, and known to swerve. Just
and not to wobble on their feet.
even coming up that final finishing chute,
Yeah, oh
there
my
was a couple of
God.
times where I think some of them might have shouldered off the porta toilet, the
Yeah,
porta
that's
loos.
right. But yeah, it was quite interesting. I mean, one of the commentators said it's a back road. There's not a lot of people on it, which means people go fast because
Yeah,
they're not expecting.
people to be running down the
Yeah.
middle of it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so yeah, I was quite amazed at how fast the cars were going. And I have to admit, I have been severely indoctrinated and brainwashed by the safety first mindset because I did go, oh my God,
That looks
that's terrible.
dangerous.
That shouldn't happen, And then I'm like, just Isabel, chill. We're not all Victorians.
That's right. Chill. Just remember that you run on a dark road well, pretty much every single morning.
I do.
And yes, you manage to do it safely.
I do. Yeah. And half the time I'm half asleep.
No, which, I don't
Yeah.
know how you do it because apparently that's
Oh, it's
very
far too
dangerous.
dangerous. Yes, I know. I
But you
know.
manage it.
And we watch a lot of overseas races on YouTube, and they never have to wear fucking high vis on them.
We,
We always have a
so,
laugh. Where's the high
once the
vis?
high vis, they're running along the road, particularly in England,
Yeah.
where a lot of those
Lanes, you can't
a lot of
see.
those trail runs link up with laneways,
Yeah,
and not a high vis vest to be seen.
nah, not a high vis vest at all.
No.
And we're cheering for it.
Yeah.
We're here for that. Yes, so interesting
Yes,
stuff.
it is.
It was fun to watch. It's not often that there's this really good, like there's always bloody Tour de France, which I used to watch, to be fair, when I was a cyclist. But or there's been, what was that car race? Mount Panorama?
Bathurst.
Bathurst, or AFL on every fucking Saturday. Not often is there something I'm interested in
Yeah.
watching sports wise. Like I'm not a sports watcher, I'm a
No.
sports doer. So it was great. I kind of understand the joy of watching a sport.
Yeah, whereas I love sport, I can watch it all day.
No, see, fuck, I'd rather be doing, like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't get it,
Mm.
but I got it then. I
Yeah.
did, and I did find it. I mean, even as a cyclist, I used to find the Tour de France boring. I only watched the highlights,
Yeah.
because seriously, and they're pedaling, and they're still pedaling, and no, they're pedaling.
Oh, look,
It's
now
kind of like,
no, but now they're coasting.
yeah.
Oh, no, they're pedaling again.
Whereas with the backyard ultra, there was literally a screen. It was black with just like one light, and I'm like, ooh, glued to it. It's like, Isabel, it's just a dark screen with a light.
Yes, that's right. It's a picture of the night. Just look out the window for crying out loud.
But I was glued.
Yeah.
Yes, my son couldn't understand it, and my daughter said, "It's just ridiculous. They're just inviting death." And I'm like, "Yes."
Some of them, I think, might have almost
Wished
achieved
for
it.
it. Yeah. Just about to. Harvey, when he finished, like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, it sounded like he'd been on the piss for the last 3 days. He couldn't even remember Phil's name. It was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah, so
so
that was a bit of fun for the week.
so we're doing our own massive run tomorrow. We're doing 35Ks. Almost 600 and whatever it was they ended up getting.
700 and
That's
something.
something. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I lost count.
I think it was around 740.
Yeah, we did. We
talked
figured
something.
that out. It was
Something like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So nearly the same.
Yeah, nearly.
I'll probably be a bit like Harvey when I get back from that.
That's right.
Slurring words. Anyway, we're going to be doing 35Ks with around 2,000 meters vert.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just because we want to get back in the hills. I mean, we
Get
were
get
back in the hills last week. We did 35 with about 1,000, 1,100 meters
yeah.
vert. But we just want to do a bit more, strengthen the legs up a bit. I don't know
Yeah.
what for. At the moment, there's nothing in concrete.
No, but when we have done some runs in the hills lately, we've realised how much they hurt because we haven't been practicing it. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we do like to do runs in the hills.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's what I
yeah,
prefer.
if it practicing it minimises the pain afterwards, then
Yes.
that's something we've got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Correctamundo.
So,
All right, so we asked, are we ready to go on, or
yes,
did you have anything more?
no, that's it. I think
I
that's it.
mean, there's a few things I want to talk about at the end,
Yeah.
but just to do with the podcast and whatnot.
Okay.
So if you could just remind me.
Okay.
Oh dear, sorry. That's updates from Facebook. Radio. So questions. We asked for questions. We didn't get one.
So we had to go and search for our own.
Although we did get one. One of my athletes, Sarah, said, it's not a question, but could you interview Jane Trumper? And actually, I might as well go on to it now.
Oh.
And I said, no, because I have already interviewed Jane Trumper. And it got me thinking, like, I've interviewed so many people. And then we got an email from someone asking, they want to put a podcast on some list, I don't know. And they're asking who I've interviewed. And seriously, I've interviewed a lot of people. Matt Fitzgerald, obviously. I've interviewed Laz.
Yep.
I've interviewed John Kelly, Damien Hall, Carl Meltzer, Dean Karnazes, Stacey Sims,
Maggie
Katra
Goodall.
Corbett, Maggie Goodall, Stephanie Case. I mean, seriously, I have interviewed some top names. I was looking at it, I was like, Christ, I'm impressed. No one, I remember I used to get so nervous before the interviews, like so nervous. Bo Miles, I've interviewed. That one's done well on YouTube more than anything. I've interviewed some really big names in ultra running. So go back, check them out, listen to how shit I was in the early days of the
As
podcast.
opposed to now when we're professional.
Oh, we are so professional now. Well, I used to do it through, first of all, I had a special little microphone machine, which I'd take around so I could only do podcasts in person. And then obviously I ran out of friends. And then because there was no Zoom back then, because that was pre-COVID, or I didn't know it existed. And then I did it through, what was that old, before like you could do Facebook Messenger and that, what was it? Oh my God, Skype.
Oh, Skype, of course.
Yes, and it sounded so tinny because I would just be recording it with that special recorder while they spoke on Skype while I'm holding it up. It's terrible, terrible. But then COVID hit and we discovered Zoom.
Yeah. So now
So I was doing all my interviews on that, which was great, except for the COVID bit. Yeah, but I've done a lot of really good interviews. Go back, have a listen. Some really, really good people I have interviewed. I mean, like, I'm amazed that I couldn't believe it when I emailed Dean Karnazes. I thought, oh, fuck it. I'll email him. What's the worst he can say? No.
Yeah.
And I got him back. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. And I'm like, does he know I'm nobody? So it was awesome, you know.
That's not to mention all the experts in health and
Okay, like
as well.
Louise Burke, she's an amazing Australian dietitian who's done heaps of research. Ricardo Costa, another absolutely amazing, he does amazing research on nutrition. Like, I've learned so much from both of them. And I mean, what I did, do you know how I chose people to interview? I just went through used to go through my bookcase and go, fuck it, I'm emailing them.
Yeah.
And I would email them. And do you know what? I've learned that in life. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
That's why I used to be completely 100% sponsored. I was sponsored for everything. And I was like, I would win some races, but I was no elite athlete. But if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yep.
So I asked. You know, and if you throw, you know, enough mud at the wall, some of it will stick. So, you know, I just went through the bookcase, emailed all those people, and some of them, like 80 to 90% of people agreed,
Yep.
which was amazing. And so, you know, I think that's a rule for life. Like with me, with the sponsorship, with everything, you know, you just give it a crack. What's the worst? No? Okay. Well, a no is the same as never having tried.
Yeah.
Like if you don't ask, it's the same as a no.
Yeah.
So you might as well ask and know for sure whether it's a yes or no, because sometimes you'll be surprised. Kelly Starrett, I also interviewed him. He's like the supple leopard and all that. He's really good on mobility if you're interested in that. Once again, it was a book I had. Patrick McEwen, the breath guy, I had his book, so I emailed him. I bought The Athlete's Gut, so I emailed him.
Yeah.
I interviewed him. Like seriously, that's how in depth I got on it. Whatever book I bought, I emailed the author if I thought the book was good, and then they would agree, and they would just agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I
who
mean,
knew?
let's face it, they like to promote themselves as much
Yeah,
as
but some people, oh no, they won't because um, some people wouldn't because you've got to have 6 million downloads and 60,000 followers, and but a lot of these authors, yeah, they want to promote,
yeah,
but they're also happy to help me out because clearly someone like Dan Canazes is way more powerful or whatever is the word than me, and he knows he's helping me out by
yeah,
doing that he's helping my podcast.
yeah.
So it was awesome.
Hmm.
There were some top American runners that I would message and they would read the message and they just would refuse, and these are people that you think, come on, like you're not going to be a top runner forever,
Yeah.
and maybe it'd be nice to say something for your Australian audience, and that's what
Yeah.
I'd say. Your Australian audience loves you and we'd love to have you on, and they would just be like, no.
Hmm.
So anyway, such is
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And that's it. You get lots of really good, and then occasionally you get some, and you think, oh well, I mean, that's just
Hmm.
the nature of human nature at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk about that and say to people, have a look, because I didn't used to do the podcast when I started the podcast by myself, which was holy moly back in 2019. Nikki Wind was my first interview, and I had my special little machine, and we were drinking champagne and doing the interview. And I thought it went for ages. And when I plugged it into the computer, it was a 14-minute interview. And I'd run out of questions. We were just waffling because I couldn't think of what to say. It was terrible. And so go back and listen to that.
So now our intro takes that one.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm too scared to even listen to it because I'm probably slurring.
Certainly towards the end.
After all that champagne. It was the only way I had the courage to do it. You might have a listen. Every time I interview Nikki, I think we're half pissed. And there's been a few interviews, but we always are on the piss.
Because I remember we did the 100th.
Yes, yes. And Nikki and I were drinking
Yeah,
champagne.
Nikki came over and
Yeah, we
yes.
cracked a bottle of champagne. Oh, dearie me. Well, we're up to 238 episodes. So I think we drank a bottle of champagne for the 200. I drank with
Yeah.
Nikki for the 100. So what are we going to drink for the 300? A bottle of
Vodka.
whiskey? Oh, vodka. I'll go vodka. It's easier on the gut.
Yeah.
I'm not a whiskey girl anymore. I used to be. All right. Sorry. Back to the podcast.
That's running.
Running. Okay. So okay. So nobody sent in a question. So how do we have questions? Oh my God. It's a mystery.
It's the magic of the internet.
Yes. So I said to ChatGPT, what kind of questions would Ultrarunner give if they gave questions? Because Ron and I want to do questions, want to do a question and answer on the podcast. What kind of questions, if they actually gave them to us, would they give us? So these are the 10 questions that Chatters has given to us. All right.
Yes.
What is the first question from our, what should we call it? Oh, well.
Our illustrious listener.
Yes.
So number one is, how do I know if I'm overtrained or just fatigued from training?
Very good question.
First of all, what is overtraining?
Overtraining is essentially under recovering.
Right.
It's when you're doing a lot of work but not recovering enough. And and people go, oh, but it's overtraining. Yeah, it is overtraining, but some people can handle, like I would overtrain if I did regular 160-kilometer weeks, but some people can do that.
Yeah.
So it's clearly not the distance, it's how much my body can handle. And also, those people who are doing massive mileage probably are full-time runners, and they get to spend the rest of the time recovering, whereas the rest of us mere mortals have to work, have to do all the other stuff associated with living, right? It's to do with how much you allow your body to recover, but it's also to do with what, we've spoken about that before, that each body has a sweet spot and you need to get to know that. And when when you're doing more than your body can handle. Normal fatigue, it is absolutely normal to get tired from training. So basically, that you're overtraining if like your resting heart rate is going up. If your mood is going down, if you're getting shitty, if you're snapping at everyone constantly, if your sleep has gone to the absolute dogs, if you cannot sleep all night. I mean, to be fair, I've never been a good sleeper, but I would know if I ever got into overtraining because my sleep would be even worse, right? And your sleep quality, like it's really light. You don't get into the deep sleep, which becomes a compounding effect. Because you're overtrained, you don't get the deep sleep, and not getting the deep sleep means you're under recovering, which means you're
Yeah.
overtraining,
Yeah.
right?
So you get into a vicious
It's a
circle.
vicious circle. If your motivation has dropped through the floor, if you're dreading it, I mean, to be fair, we both have times where sometimes we don't want to
Yeah.
run. That's different to dreading and going,
I like
oh,
to call
fuck.
that Tuesday.
Yeah. I call it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I always want to run like in the afternoon, but when I get up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to run. Like in the afternoon when I'm thinking about my morning run,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that'll be a good run. Then I get up and go, I don't want to fucking run. Um, but you know, when you've got literally no, it's not that you've got no motivation to run. You honestly don't want to. You're putting in your shoes, going, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to go. Oh, this is fucking horrible. And you start the run and it's still horrible. And you finish the run and you feel more exhausted. And it, it's really quite obvious when you get into overtraining. It is normal to be tired, like especially when before a race, when you're getting into that big peak training period. And that's why you've got to prioritize when you're not training to be resting.
Mhm.
That's not the time to start the renos on the highs.
Yeah.
It's not the time to start to move, you know, or to start a new job or something like that.
Or to landscape that new garden, that
Yeah,
new
yeah.
flower bed.
Yes, you know, that's a time where you're chilling, right? So it's normal to be fatigued, absolutely. And
Mhm.
and when I'm in deep in big training, and which means you are too, we
Yeah.
do get tired, don't
Yes,
we?
absolutely.
Right? But we know that, you know, a couple of good night's sleeps or cutting back a bit and we'll be right.
Yeah. And knowing that this is the peak,
Yes.
this is not
Yep.
everyday
Yeah, that's
training.
right.
This
Yeah.
this is the peak
Yeah.
of our training.
But if you take a couple of days off and you're still just as fucked and still just as demotivated and still just as snappy and sleeping just as bad, then you know you're in overtraining and you have got to pull back. And that's why it's best not to actually get into that, because if you get really badly into overtraining, it's really hard to get out of it.
Mhm. Yep.
So you know, and it also under recovery comes from lack of food. A lot of people don't eat enough for the volume of training that they're doing.
Yep.
And it's so important. Food is I equate it to just as important as sleep, right? Is food. So you need to eat really good quality food. And that's what I've always done with my running. In fact, my daughter has taken umbrage at it, as told you before, because she said, Mum, it's not fair. You've given me expensive tasting food. I don't just want fish, I want, you know, Atlantic wild caught salmon because because that was the food you used to feed us. And I'm like, yeah, because we've got to have quality food because, you know, firstly, it helps children grow, but also for running. And, you know, that's what my kids got used to was always to me, highest quality food, like that you can possibly afford, because that is the most important thing. I would always rather spend my money on good quality food than anything else, because that's how important it is to me. So make sure you're eating properly and hydrating properly and sleeping enough. And then, you know, if you're doing everything right, it could just be fatigue, or maybe it's just too much mileage and you need to recover better from the mileage, which means maybe your sweet spot's a bit low and you need to pull
Yeah.
it back a bit.
Yeah.
If it's just normal fatigue and you know it's only for a few weeks that you're doing this high mileage, then you can push through that. And in fact, you kind of need to, because then when you cut back, that's when you reach your peak.
That's right. And then when you build up next time, you can go just that little bit further
That's
again.
right. But you know, we cut back for the taper. I
Yeah.
was kind of
Yeah.
talking, and that's when you really, when you come out of that fatigue, it's like, whoa, and I feel awesome. And yes, every time you do a training block and you build up and then you have the break, but then you start from a higher level, and you're
Yeah.
right. And that's how eventually you get better. But if you just keep trying to keep pushing all the time, which is, we'll talk about off seasons
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
If you don't ever have an off season, you never get that chance to cut back and get the fitness to expose itself. You're just constantly burying it under fatigue until you're going up that and then crash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not on YouTube, you didn't see my
No.
awesome hand signals that explained it perfectly.
All
Mm.
right. So number two, what's more important for ultra marathons, high mileage or focused sessions like hills and tempo?
Why can't we have both?
Yes.
Well, I would say focus sessions are more important. High mileage is great, but a lot of times people have high mileage. I would call it ego mileage, right? Because high mileage doesn't always equate to ability in ultra running, um, especially if you end up just running slow on all those runs just to get your mileage.
Yeah.
So you really need to do focus sessions. You need to do hill. Well, you don't have to do hill reps. I mean, I know hill reps are great, and a lot of athletes want to do it, but doing hills all the time can slow your feet down. Yes, it makes you strong, but you also need to balance it out with quality sessions on the flat, is my belief, to keep your foot speed up, right? And tempo, like the lactate threshold that we were talking about last week, so important. Interesting. We did get a comment on that YouTube, and someone said, "Oh, what did they say?" They obviously didn't watch or listen, because they said, what's the word for summary? VO2 max. Because we said, what's better, VO2 max or lactate threshold was the title. And they said summary VO2 max. I'm like, you didn't listen or watch, because that was not the summary. We didn't say that.
No.
Anyway, so tempo is awesome for a lactate, all that muscular endurance, lactate threshold, steady state runs, really good for ultra running. Also, we always want to go for the minimum effective dose. And a lot of people get upset when they hear that. Do you know what I mean by the minimum effective dose?
No, why don't you explain?
Like it's like when you take a medicine, you don't go, oh, well, if one antibiotic's going to do it, let's take 10 just to sure we knock it on the head, right? Because then your body gets so used to 10, that's what you need every time if you get sick. It's the same with training. You want to use the minimum amount of training that you can do to get the result that you want. That way you've got somewhere to go.
Okay.
Next training block. If you bang out all the high mileage straight away, then how do you improve from that? There's nowhere to go. Yeah, you got to do even more. You'll end up at 400 kilometers a week, and that's not possible. So you want to do the minimum effective dose, the least amount of training. People think when I say that, that means, oh, we've got to do no training. No, that's not what I'm saying. The least you can possibly do. You don't need to go bang into super high mileage. Start with 80K weeks, then, next block move up, regular 80K, then regular 100Ks, then regular, and slowly build up. So, because over your lifespan, otherwise, like I said, you'll be building up, it will get to an unsustainable, or you'll plateau because there's nowhere to go. You've got nothing else to do. Yes. So, I would suggest, I still think you need to do relatively high mileage for ultra marathons. You do. You can't do a 100 miler on 50Ks a week. You just can't, right? I think you need to be doing minimum 100K weeks regularly, and not just in your peak for doing a 100 miler. For 100K, I mean, personally, once again, I did to do my first 100K, I was doing 130K weeks. You could get away with 80K weeks, but you'll do better once again, 100Ks. I think for ultra marathons, you want to be doing at least 100K weeks. Like, that's my belief. Not all my athletes do that, because that's not their sweet spot, and their bodies can't handle that high mileage.
Their lifestyle can't.
And their lifestyle sometimes can. And you can still do an ultra marathon on lower, right? Not 50Ks,
but you just need to understand that it's not the perfect.
Yes, that's right.
Amount.
Yes, and that's why we make sure that everything is really effective. Like, there's no junk miles whatsoever. Obviously there's easy runs. I'm not saying every run is a quality session, but the quality sessions are really targeted. Everything has a purpose, and there is no fluff or bullshit in that program, right? So, so you can do ultras on lower mileage, but ultimately, yes, higher mileage is better. But I still don't believe that you have to do regular 100-mile weeks. I don't think you need that much.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right. Next question.
Now, we've all done it, and some of us handle it a little bit better than others. So the question is, how do you mentally recover from a bad race or a DNF?
Well, do you know what I find interesting is I talk to my athletes sometimes, and they don't even know that I've DNF'd races before. I've DNF'd a shit ton of races, heaps.
Yeah.
And I was about to say you just get over it. But I mean, I've always been I've always been disappointed, but in general, I always have a reason. Like, I'm not DNFing for nothing. And although sometimes I think it's almost like I remember one UTA, I got this pain in the back of my leg. It was funny because my ex-husband would only come and watch me race if he thought I was going to win or do well. And then invariably, because he was there, I would do shit. And I'd done really well at the UTA the year before. And so he came and then I got an injury in the back of my leg and I couldn't run. I literally couldn't. I was like, I couldn't. My leg was collapsing because of the pain. But like I stopped the race, pulled out, hand him my number, 10 minutes later, it was better. It's like my mind, every time he was around, made it so I couldn't race. So I DNF'd heaps of races when he was around. Um, so some of them are psychological, and I would look back and go, oh, but then I think, but there was a reason. There was still a reason, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Even my brain, I trust my brain, and it was looking after me for some reason. It was doing something to help me. I don't know what, right? But if you're, I've pulled out of races due to gastric distress issues, like serious ones, and if it's, like, and I've pushed through with serious ones too. It just depends whether you've got the mental fortitude at the time to deal with it. I've had minor niggly injuries, never a real bad injury. Um, and yeah, they're the main reasons I've DNF'd. I've have DNF'd before when I'm just going shit, couple of times. So, when I knew I wasn't going to achieve my goal, and it's like, I might as well pull the pin now rather than wasting my fitness and come back to do another race, kind of thing. I didn't do that a lot. I did it a couple of times. What about you? Have you ever DNF'd?
Yes. A couple of times. I've never, done races where I've had to push myself the way you have, but I've
Mm.
had, I mean, my first DNF was through injury because I fell,
Yeah.
and bruised some ribs. Um, and then, I mean, we DNF'd,
Oh, yeah.
Oscars.
Yeah. Yeah. Hut to hut.
Um,
Yeah, because of my
that
chafe on my
was,
back.
yeah,
But it was more than that. Like
it was illness as well. You had
yeah, I had
your,
my Meniere's
yeah,
attack.
Meniere's flaring up.
But I had no, I didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
And I think once again, that was my brain going, she doesn't want to be here. All right, many years.
yeah,
Okay, that's not stopping her. She keeps taking that fucking medication. Chafe.
yeah,
Like seriously, my brain really looks after me. And it when it knows when I don't want to do shit.
mm,
And it just,
yeah,
when it knows it's going to be bad for my mental health, I think, to
mm,
continue, it gives me physical symptoms, so I have a reason to pull out.
yeah,
I think that was because I didn't want to be there from the get-go
mm,
mentally. I was not in a good place at that time. Um, and so my body gave me symptoms.
yeah.
So you DNF that you only DNF that because of me. You wouldn't have DNF'd if it wasn't for me.
Probably. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't have.
Probably not.
Definitely not.
I don't know about any others. Like I say, I've never
You haven't raced enough
no,
to
I've
have
never
DNF'd as much as me.
done the hardness of races that you've done where DNF
Mm.
was really, a consideration.
I mean, I DNF'd a half marathon once because I went out so hard at the start.
Mm.
I was fucked. I literally couldn't run.
Yeah,
I think I pretty much collapsed because I was once again cashing checks my body couldn't afford. I mean, you're going out in a half marathon at sub 4 minute pace, and you're just an idiot.
yeah,
When you're me, and I'm sure there's some elite men that could do it.
yeah.
Really, Isabel?
Sub 3 minute pace.
Yeah, that's right. But,
Um,
like seriously, what a
yeah,
moron. But I learned my lesson that day. I learned it. I could not run, so I had to stop and pull out.
mm, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've finished some races, where I've death marched it in.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've done that heaps too. Yeah.
But I would do that before I actually stopped,
Yeah.
pulled the pin.
But also there comes a point where, like, what's the point in death marching something in? Like, really? What is the point? To say you finished in 6 million hours? Like, I don't know. So, and if that injures you at the same time. So anyway, how do you mentally recover? We
Yeah.
haven't even got to that.
Mm.
So you got to reflect. What happened? Right? What happened? For me, with Oscars, let's say, I knew before I started my heart wasn't in it. I wasn't mentally in a good place with it. I really didn't want to do it. I had a lot of anxiety. And so I shouldn't have probably even gone. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. Right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have even started. So lesson learned. Right? That other time with which I DNF'd in Canada, I mean, there was a number of reasons. My stomach went south, but I'd also just gotten back the week before from Australia after the death of my mother. So mentally, normally I can handle the gastric distress, but because mentally I'd used up all my mental strength at my mother's funeral, I had nothing left to push through in the race. So I DNF because I just had nothing. I was just sitting there crying. So, I look back on that and go, okay, listen to self, don't do races just after something significantly emotionally traumatic. I mean, I did my first UTA 3 or 4 weeks after my father's death. And I mean, I cried during that, but at least it was 3 or 4 weeks after. And, but this was like a week later, and I'd had two recent flights to Australia. Within 4 weeks, I'd flown twice to Australia. So I was fucked. And so, you got to think, right. And also then don't eat from aid stations. Ever since that race, I don't eat from aid stations, right? My lesson was learned. So I learned a lot from that. Also, even if there's no mandatory equipment, don't go up a mountain with no warm clothes. I learned so much from that race, right? So, I learned a lot of lessons from that. As long as you learn, as long as there's lessons to be learned, then it's not a failure.
Yeah.
You've actually learned so much. And I used to find that I would have a DNF or a shit race, and my next race would be the best. It would be awesome. I'd often end up winning that race because I would come back with renewed fire and vigor, And so use it as a I don't know what the word is, but use it as a
drive.
Drive or a motivation to do even better.
Yeah.
Because, people it's really hard with running. We wait 6 months for this race, and then you might just have a goddamn bad day.
Yeah.
You might come down sick. You might, as always happened to me, I'd wake up with the first day of my period and be in agony before the race even started, on painkillers before the race even started. Shit happens. It's not always a perfect day. And sometimes you can't get through it, and sometimes you have to DNF, and it's actually okay. It's not a reflection of you as a person. And you still need to have a rest after a DNF. A lot of people are like, let's get straight back into training. I didn't do the race, so I can rest. No, you had that big block of training beforehand. And also you've had a significantly mental stress happen to you. The DNF is a mental stress. And if you bury yourself in training, you're just going to get exhausted, which means, and that's exhaustion is not good for mental health. It makes everything seem worse. So, learn from it. There's always something to be learned. I've always gotten golden nuggets from all my my DNFs. I DNF'd GSER 6 weeks after I did a 24-hour track race, and my lesson was, don't be a moron and do two big races so close together. Like, seriously, don't be a moron, Isabel. But I was going away to Canada a few weeks later, so I was trying to fit in all the races. But then I used that. I was like, I'm going to come back to GSER and I'm going to win it. I was gone for 2018. So I DNF'd GSER 2017, was gone for 2018, living in Canada, came back 2019 and won GSER. And I said to my crew, I'm winning this race. That's the goal. And they're like, okay. and I won it. And that's what I'm talking about. It gave me the drive. I was there and I'm going, I'm fucking winning this by hook or by goddamn crook.
Even if I have to get rid of all the opposition.
That's right. It was funny because me and David would be coming up, because he was my pacer. We'd be coming up to the girl that was in first. We were coming up to overtake. He's like, there's a girl in first. I said, right, we've got to act all fresh. So we slowed down a bit, got all fresh. And then we just ran past. I went, hi. I ran past her all happy and, have a good day, bye. And she's like, oh. And we got around the corner and then I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, we go back to walking. And he was like, wow, I didn't know that's what people did. And I said, oh, yeah, that was taught to me. I've just handed you the knowledge, young child. And that's what you do, So, yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So, I used that as a driving force to win GSER 2019. If I hadn't DNF 2017, I probably, who knows, I probably wouldn't have even done 2019.
Yeah.
So use it. Use it as fuel. That's the word I was looking for. Fuel.
Okay.
Yep. Use it as fuel for your next race. And it's okay to DNF. Don't think you're a failure. I've DNF'd lots of races and I've never considered them a failure. I've just considered them feedback. On maybe I didn't train enough, maybe I didn't train my gut enough, maybe I was overly ambitious, maybe I was a moron and paced wrong. It was always a mistake that I made. It was always, if I really looked at it carefully, I made a mistake somewhere. And so you can learn from that.
Yep.
right? So it's okay. And then you learn and you never do that in a race again. You just make a whole bunch of different mistakes.
Move on to the next
Yeah,
mistake.
next mistake coming up. It's all
Yeah,
part of the fun of ultra running, you know?
it is. Yeah.
It makes it when the race goes well and you have a good race, it makes it all that much sweeter, right? So that's okay.
Absolutely.
Can't have the highs without the lows.
Absolutely. That is number one.
It's number one. You can't have you won't enjoy those really good races if you don't have some really shit races.
Yep.
All right.
All right, moving on. Number 4. How do I practice race day fueling without stomach issues?
Well, to be fair, there is no guarantee that even with practicing race day and fueling that you won't get stomach issues. There's just no guarantees. The weather, if it's really hot, you're more likely to get stomach issues. Like you just are. Okay, because your blood's even more so getting diverted away from the stomach, trying to cool you. Okay, as we know, when we run, the blood gets diverted away from the gut. But your gut training is your fourth discipline. So with the 3 disciplines: running, strength training, mindset work, nutrition, 4-discipline sport. Pardon me. Right? A good way to train your stomach to handle the load is to double it in training. I know that sounds terrible to most people, but it's what you need to do. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day that involved a guy who did some research. He was being interviewed. He did some research, and they find that high carbs in training and racing had the same percentage advantage to runners as using super shoes. So, super shoes can give you a 3.4%, 3 to 4% advantage. And people are like, whoa, I'll spend $6 million on those super shoes for that percentage advantage, but they won't fricking fuel.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, fueling doesn't cost you $350 a pop, and they only last 200 kilometers, So fuel up. Fueling is a superpower. It's not eating's cheating. It is cheating. It's like cheating.
It is like cheating.
It is like cheating. It gives you the same advantage. Like, seriously, eat. Eat carbs on your run, and I've gotten slack and lazy. It's like, oh, I'm not as good anymore. So I don't fuel as much. And guess what happens? Because I'm not fueling as much, I'm not as good as anymore.
Yeah.
And I've gone, fuck it. I need to. And so on my 20K run, I had a one of those big square crumpets. Normally I just have a little one. I just have a little snack. But this time I had a big square crumpet. I wasn't actually hungry. Oh, no, actually I only had a small one because I took a gel with me. And I had a gel as well. And I accidentally took a caffeine one, so it was even better. And I felt so good on that run. Normally I just have something small to eat and that's it. And then, get hungry halfway through and feel like shit. But yeah, the gel really helped. So I'm going high carb again after listening to that research. Not ridiculous, not like back in the 90s when we only ate carbs and we didn't eat fat or meat or anything. We just ate carbs. Which sounds like your heaven, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I live.
Yeah.
I'd love to live like that.
Yeah. But I'm going back to way more carbs in training and because I've gotten slack, because I've just gotten slack. You get slack, and I get it. Like, I'm not criticizing anyone, but I do know a lot of people don't eat in training because they are using long runs as a weight loss mechanism. And when I was really a good runner, I used to always eat before all my quality sessions, and I've gotten slack and I haven't been eating before quality sessions because it's like, oh, it's too early. I couldn't be fucked. I'm not hungry. I don't want to. And I think up 6 million excuses and I just roll out the door. I'm back to eating before all my quality sessions, and they just feel so much better and you recover better. And so you need to practice it in training. And I would recommend, like we do, is we eat and then we just go straight out and run. You don't need to wait for it to digest. You want to get used to running on a full stomach because you want to train your gut to do that. Don't do it in a race, but do it in training so your body gets used to it. So, because there's no way to mimic 100-miler in training. You can't go out to train your stomach by doing 100-miler because won't be able to do your 100-miler. So you've got to do things like eating just before you head out the door. Those sorts of things. Doubling your carb intake during the race. Now, they were talking, we've all been talking about 120 grams of carbs. Oh my God, can you imagine being able to do that? He was saying that cyclists are now getting up to 160 grams of carbs an hour. I just shuddered. But, so many runners, when they come to me and I look at what they're consuming on a run, they're having like 40 grams of carbs an hour and then wondering why they fucking feel like shit.
Yeah.
So 60 to 90 is the minimum. In training, you should try to aim for 100 so that then in the race you can have about 60 or 70, or maybe 80.
Yep.
Like really double down. Like it's so important. Nutrition is so, like I've DNF'd races because of nutrition.
Yeah.
I walked 3/4 of Coast to Cosy because of
Yeah.
nutrition. Because
Yeah.
my stomach, admittedly, I had trained with that nutrition, but then the weather was hot and it turned my stomach with that nutrition.
Yeah.
Right. So it, nutrition is huge, huge. And it's such a pity to get super fit and then be screwed over by nutrition.
Yeah.
Can I just say, because of my waffling, I don't think we're going to have time for all 10, or we're going to be here till dinner
Yes,
time.
true. It'll be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah. Nobody wants that. So we'll do
We'll
5.
do 5 today. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So next question.
Next question and final question.
Yeah.
How do I stop going out too hard when I feel amazing early on?
Well, you run with me. Okay. I'm just going to end up like, Forrest Gump with everyone running with me. Because if you run with me, you'll pace yourself correctly.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh my God, I'm so slow at the start. I'm so slow. We're last. And for once, if you run with me, I won't be last because you'll be behind me.
Yeah, that's right. Every now and then Isabel says, can you just go behind me so I'm not last?
You've just got to be disciplined. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's hard. And like I've said, see, once again, my body is smart and it stops me. It gives me aches and pains so I can't go out too fast. Because it learned from that time when I went out at 350 pace in a half marathon. And now, ever since then, it gives me aches and pains.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my brain goes, okay, she went out that hard. And oh my God, that was horrendous. So now we're going to stop her.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, my body, it is so smart.
Yeah.
It's getting a big head now, my body.
It is, yeah.
It's
Stop
going,
doing
I
that so
know,
much.
but literally, my body is super smart, and it gives me aches and pains to stop me doing things, and it stops me. I cannot go out too hard.
Yeah.
And like I've said before, I get embarrassed. I find it embarrassing, but it's like, and that's why I get nervous before races, as Ron well knows,
Yes.
because I get so embarrassed about how slow I am at the start. I'm like,
Yes.
everyone's gonna think I'm shit and
Yeah.
don't I?
You do. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy though, because the more you stress about it,
Yeah.
The more guaranteed it's going to happen.
I mean, I remember before the 100K at Buffalo, when the second of my 12 and 12 that turned into 7 and 7. And and I was feeling no pressure because I'd done 100K the week before. So I was like, just whatever. And if I'm slow, it doesn't matter because like I can say I did 100K last week. And I was totally not last. I was like mid-pack.
Yeah.
For the first,
Yeah.
it was like, and I was like, wow, this is like unheard of for me. So, yes, it is a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy, but I think though at Macedon it was more totally unfit.
Yeah.
But also I got massive aches and pains, like seriously, because
Yeah.
I was nervous for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I knew not only am I a shit starter, but I was unfit.
Yeah. I was, for those of us who don't feel quite so shit at the start of the run, maybe another strategy is working on a pacing plan. But a lot of people, and I had this conversation just last night with one of my athletes, as pacing strategy doesn't mean how
Paces.
fast you're going to run. It's how it's more about, pacing yourself throughout the run. So you're not looking at it going, I need to be at least under this, by the first stage station. You need to look at it as in, looking at the whole picture of the race and looking at how you're going to start off, at a certain pace and be able to
an
maintain
effort
it.
level, because with trail running,
yes,
trail running, you can't really focus on pace.
So the idea of a pacing strategy is not to get to the first aid station as fast as you possibly can. It's to, mean that you get to the last aid station as fast as you possibly can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, 100%. And you can create a pacing strategy. And I remember for my first UCA, I did, because I was aiming for under 14 hours or whatever it was for the good buckle. And every time I'd come to an aid station, I was way ahead. And I'd be like, oh, shit. Oh, and I thought, well, I feel good. So this is the thing. So I would say, I feel good. I'm just going to continue with because I feel okay. And I didn't feel like I was pushing too hard. And I finished in 12, whatever, 40. You should know your body inside and out from training, how it feels. That's how you create a pacing strategy based on effort is listening to your body during training.
Hmm.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
Because how
absolutely.
else can you decide how you should feel during the race? So stop using your Garmin as the God, as your overlord,
Hmm.
and look at it as a guide.
Yeah,
It's just a Sherpa, right? It's not your overlord. So let it, carry the weight of figuring out what the actual pace is, but you do the work of figuring out how it feels.
hmm,
And with quality work, when you're doing quality work, which is why I'm always nagging my athletes to stick to their paces, is you've got to learn to control yourself. You've got to learn to control your pace. And just because you feel good doesn't mean you go woohoo and sprint off at the
yeah,
speed of light, right? You got to learn to control yourself, to pick up the pace. And that's why we like to give lots of different paces.
mm,
Certainly as we get closer to races, we give them runs where they pick up the pace,
yeah,
learning to pick up the pace, even if you're feeling tired, all those sorts of things you need to be doing in your training. That's why if you're just going out and running, you're not training, you're exercising. Training is a structured program that actually prepares you and makes you ready for the race, not just fitness wise, but mentally and pacing wise and everything. There's so much that you should be learning from your training: how to handle your mind, how to do your nutrition, how to do your pacing come the race. The fitness is just part of it. Like when we coach, that fitness that we're helping them, our athletes create, is only one small part of it. Because, like we've said before, anyone can tell you how far to run, but that doesn't help you if it's not training all the other
yeah,
things and you haven't got someone to talk it through with, which is what we
mm,
provide. As Ron was saying, that he was discussing that with an athlete. Um, so basically, RPE. Yes, you could use heart rate as a governor, but quite frankly, I don't think it's reliable, especially in a race, because it's going to be high, and then you might end up going out too slow,
yeah.
right? Because you're excited about
Excited,
your race,
nervous.
nervous,
You've just built up,
caffeinated to the
just built up the
bejesus.
caffeine. Yeah,
Yeah, you've just seen all your friends and you're
yeah,
up, and you're feeling fresh as a daisy, and your heart rate will be high. So then if you're basing it on your heart rate, you might go out too slow. And when we talk about pacing, we're not saying about going out too slow. We're the right pace for you. And
yeah,
I had an athlete yesterday, I spoke to her because she's got a race tomorrow. And I said, you've got to go out steady in the first 30 Ks. That doesn't mean not working. You should be working, but you're not burning matches in the
mm,
first 30 K. And there from 30 K, you can start picking it up and then pick it up again at 50. Obviously, she's doing 100 K,
mm,
um, and those sorts of things. But you don't want to be going out, you want a negative split. You don't want to, or at least even split. In an
yeah,
ultra, you even split. Negative splitting in an ultra is even splitting, if you ask me, because you've increased the pace in the second half, and that's why it's even.
yeah,
So it's the same pacing effort as a negative split. It's just the pace doesn't reflect that
yeah,
necessarily all the time, because you're so much more fatigued than, say, with a marathon or a 10K. Um, so, you should aim to pick up the effort level, which will stop the slow down. But if you go out too fast in the start, you've burnt your matches. You don't get them back. Once they're
no,
gone, they're gone.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So,
So,
m- you wait until, like honestly, the race doesn't really start until halfway. And certainly in a miler, if it was a miler, you know, definitely you wouldn't be picking it up yet at 30K. You're settling into your rhythm. You're still working. Like I said, it's not like you're going out for an easy run. It's not an easy run effort, but you're not working. It's hard
mm,
to explain because you've got to know your own body.
yeah. Basically, you've got to know what you can sustain for a long period of time.
You've got to know your
That's what,
lactate threshold feeling, that comfortably
yeah.
uncomfortable that we were talking about last week. That's so important.
And that's what the long runs are for,
Mm.
is to get to know your own body.
Yeah. And that's it. That's why, you hear some people going, oh, you don't need to do long runs. I've heard that, Chestnut. But you actually do. It's you don't need it necessarily for the fitness. Yeah, I'll agree with that because, you probably could get away with 20 Ks,
Hmm.
but you need it for that time on legs, for the figuring everything out, for that the muscular endurance. Like there's so many
Yeah.
benefits,
Yep.
so many benefits to the long run. But also, like I said, the quality work helps you learn how to control your pace. And, otherwise it's tempting in the first, if you go out too hard in your first interval, if you've got 5 times 1K and you go out too fast, that last two is going to be
Yeah.
horrendous. So, it's pacing. You've got to learn it in training.
Yeah.
Training is not just about getting fitter, it's about learning from it. That's why every run should have a purpose. Yes, what are
Yes.
you
Sorry.
looking at?
I was distracted by the magpie out at the window.
I
Sorry.
thought so. I could tell.
Easily distracted.
Yes, squirrel. Yes, yes.
Yeah. No,
Not listening to the gems and golden
I was
nuggets
listening.
falling from
I
my.
was listening. I
Uh-huh,
was listening.
uh-huh.
Yeah. But where were we?
I
Yeah.
know that
No.
look. It's every time I talk to him, he gets that look. Uh-huh. A far away, distant look in his face.
And then, to finish that one, going back, circling back to the DNF line, every race is a learning curve.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you find that you've gone out too hard in a race,
Learn from it.
maybe next time, yeah, you'll learn from it. And
But what I
also
find is so many
importantly,
people come say to me, "Oh, yeah, but I'm hopeless. I go out hard in every race." Like,
yeah,
why would you not learn from
if you
it?
know you're doing it,
And you know it wrecks your race.
yeah,
Why do you keep doing it? Like,
mm,
what did they say? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is a sign of insanity or
yeah,
whatever. Like, seriously, it
yeah,
is. Like, why would you keep doing it? You know it doesn't work.
yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's, as we have said in the past, the feeling of passing people
Oh,
late in the race, there's nothing like
awesome.
it.
Yeah, it's so much better than being the one getting
Yes,
passed,
that's right.
you know?
And, you know, passing people at the start of a race might be fleetingly feel good, but when they pass you at the end of the race, it sucks.
Yeah, it's worse getting passed at the
Yeah,
end than getting passed at the start.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, try and experience that feeling if you can.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you hadn't experienced it until you.
No.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't want to go out too hard, run with me, people. Ron hadn't experienced it, and he didn't fully understand it until we did it, and then he's
Yeah.
like, "That was so cool."
Yeah, yeah. Just seeing people, in the distance and just going,
Reeling them
rightio,
in.
that's it. You're next.
Yep, yep. That's it.
Yeah,
Hunting those wabbits.
yeah,
Yep. And it's fun, and it makes it fun when especially when, because we're not exactly feeling awesome by the end
no,
either, but it gives you something to focus on. It gives you a motivator.
absolutely. Yep.
It does, you turn it into a bit of a game. It comes a bit of fun
Hmm.
because, God knows everything else is hurting. So, yeah, why not? Why not indeed? All right. So we got 5 more questions.
Yeah,
We'll do them next week.
yep.
Hopefully these have been interesting for you. If you have other questions, please let us know, but I'm sure it won't happen.
No, no. We've come up with our own questions to to try and cover everything off, but we obviously don't know what the questions that you want us to answer.
I mean, I did come up with more questions, didn't I? Because I went into Facebook groups on ultra running and I looked through everybody's posts and got their questions, but Ron reckoned ChatGPT's questions were so he wanted to do those ones. I said, okay, well, we'll do my ones later.
We'll do them one. That's another podcast.
That's another, well, we've got another podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be, oh my God, but we can't just keep doing question podcasts. So if you've got an idea for a topic for us, not an interview, I'm not doing interviews anymore. I mean, maybe we could sometimes. I mean, like it'd be pretty awesome to interview that girl who got 95 laps at Biggs, she got the women's record, or Phil or something. But ultimately, we don't really do interviews anymore. It's really I find it very stressful for me. Firstly, organizing all the times, and also I would get anxiety before them. Yeah. So I find this is more fun for me, and this is what I enjoy, and it's my podcast, and I make the rules.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. But you because it's all right for you with the interviews. I do all the work.
I'm the side. What is it? I'm the
ChatGPT called him my sidekick.
Yes. Put me in my place.
Yes. And when I asked it to write a blurb about the podcast, and it said Isabel and Ron Ross.
That's right.
I said you've now taken on my name and you're my sidekick.
Rock bottom, this is people. Rock bottom.
I thought that was funny. So anyway, yes, we would love it if you shared the podcast, and if you do you get value out of this, people? If like honestly, do you get value out of this? If you just nodded, then share it. Give it to someone else who might get value out of it. Same with my Instagram posts. Share them in your stories. And if you share a picture of yourself listening to the podcast and tag peak endurance coaching or peak endurance podcast with some bloody hashes and shit, or not hashes, dashes and shit. I don't know. Like I said, I was getting a bit artsy fartsy. Then I will reshare them and I will comment probably if I see it. I've got so many Instagram accounts. Sometimes I get confused what account I'm in and what I'm doing. Oh, it's hard. But that goes for anything. Like honestly, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, we would appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it takes mere seconds, mere
It
seconds.
does.
And if you're not following peak endurance coaching, what are you doing with
What are
your
you
life?
doing?
Yeah,
God,
like
get with
seriously.
it.
Oh,
You know,
you are not one of the cool kids
I
if
was
you're
going
not
to say,
following.
be one of the cool kids and follow us.
Because look at us, we are the
Yeah,
epitome of cool.
yeah. Follow us, guys. We're cool.
Yeah, so cool.
We're the hippest mid-50s people
Ever
you'll ever
made.
get to meet.
Yes. Oh God.
That's saying a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. My kids would be just like, oh, mum, you're such a dick. Anyway, all righty. So thanks for joining us. And look, yeah, the question was answered. We didn't stuff up the intro this
No,
week.
we didn't.
So yeah,
That's
that'll be next week's job.
pressure will be on you next week.
I know. Because in case you didn't notice it, we take it in
We do
turns.
take it in turns, and we do try.
Because we're an equal opportunity employer
Yes,
here.
and we do try and put pressure on the person that's about to do it.
I didn't to you. I
I mean,
even made sure the microphone, I tested, I
yeah,
did everything.
but you always give me a bit of don't fuck it up.
Yeah, but I'm not giving you shit. I'm like, seriously, don't fuck it up. Don't try not to because it's getting embarrassing.
Yeah, especially when you stumble over your own name.
I know. Or forget to say it.
Yeah,
But then I kind of just assume everyone knows us.
yeah, but that's not the point.
No. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We
Yes.
really appreciate it. Questions 6 to 10 next week.
Yep.
Oh,
So be there or be square.
okay. Thank you.